maybe not destroy a classic from my childhood and put an actress in there that not only hates the plot and the storyline of the movie she's in, but also seemingly hates Snow White, the character.
So it's hard to develop some sort of admiration or connection with women when they're written very two-dimensional and don't really give you enough.
To be a strong woman, you have to be this. To be, it's like, again, putting us into a box again.
It's no secret. Disney has been chasing Jenna Ortega for what feels like forever, but she's consistently said no, standing firm on her personal beliefs. Word on the street is Disney ended up casting Rachel Zegler, the same actress who's been caught up in non-stop controversy, because Jenna wouldn't play along with their race-swapping, woke agenda. But here's the kicker: since those interviews last year, Rachel's star has been fading fast, and now Disney is back at square one, trying to reel Jenna back in. We've got all the juicy details, so let's dive right in. If you've been living under a rock, here's the tea. Jenna Ortega and Rachel Zegler are smack dab in the middle of a brewing storm involving the Walt Disney Company, and things are heating up daily. Rumors say Disney's been eager to lock Jenna down for several big projects, Pirates of the Caribbean included, but she's allegedly declined due to their ideological direction. That refusal kicked off a whole mess of issues between Jenna and Disney. Honestly, Jenna's stance isn't surprising. She's never been one to be shoved into a particular ideology, which Disney seems to push often. In an interview with Variety, Jenna made her boundaries crystal clear. Meanwhile, Disney's been juggling internal chaos and cost cuts under CEO Bob Iger, which has only made things messier. The plot thickens as Ortega reportedly clashed with Zegler behind the scenes, igniting tension just before Rachel was allegedly fired and dropped from multiple Disney projects. One of those projects even had Rachel in a starring role, making the drama even stickier. Clearly, Disney's attempts to manage its talent and projects are hitting some serious roadblocks. But honestly, Jenna's been in the game for years and knows how to handle the media, unlike Rachel, who seems to be flying by the seat of her pants. Here's the thing: Rachel Zegler exploded onto the scene recently with her breakout role as Maria in West Side Story. Before that, she was relatively unknown. But once the spotlight hit, her immaturity became glaringly obvious. From the start, it was clear Rachel hadn't been media trained and was basically a ticking time bomb. Disney crowned her a princess, announcing she'd play the lead in the live-action Snow White. That casting decision stirred backlash initially, but the firestorm really blew up once Rachel started talking about the film.
She drew the line saying,
"Beautiful, but I don't know anything about her." So it's hard to develop some sort of admiration or connection with women when they're written very
She made it clear in interviews that this Snow White would be a total departure from the 1937 classic, calling the original version strange, and promising the new Snow White wouldn't be saved by a prince or dreaming of true love. Instead, the character was set to become a fearless leader, inspired by her late father's words. "I just mean that it's no longer 1937, Zegler said. "We absolutely wrote a Snow White that she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's going to be dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true." And she didn't stop there. In another interview with Entertainment Weekly, she doubled down. The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman had stood for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom. Honestly, comments like these are an easy way to get yourself canceled these days. The backlash? Totally deserved. But Rachel played the victim, claiming on Instagram that her words were twisted and taken out of context. Sure, cancel culture is rampant these days, but in Rachel's case, she handed it to herself on a silver platter. Rachel Zegler has never shied away from her radical takes on Disney classics, and now those outspoken opinions seem to be stirring serious trouble. Rumor has it her woke ideology threw a wrench into the release of Disney's much-anticipated live-action remake. Inside the Magic, a well-known entertainment news source, revealed that her comments sparked heated debates within Disney, fueling speculation that her views may have delayed, or even shelved, the film's release. Rachel's bluntness has definitely made waves, and not the kind Disney wanted. An insider spilled, things have been looking rough for the success of the live-action Snow White film, which has not even come out yet, nor has one trailer or any real previews. The hatred has been unprecedented, and it may lead to Disney's decision to do something unprecedented, pull the film entirely. Branding expert Carla Spate weighed in, suggesting that the current flood of extreme feminism and equality rhetoric has complicated Rachel's situation. According to Spate, Disney's PR team dropped the ball by not prepping Zegler properly. She said, "Whilst it's been clear that the original Disney princess films hold old values, Disney have fallen for the trap of going to the opposite extreme to inflict strong and loaded messaging on the viewers, believing that's empowerment. There was a time when Disney actors were media trained and were thoughtful about the impact of their words, whilst sticking to key messaging about the films, but it seems with this total rewrite of Snow White, picturing her as a boss girl has gone to the heads of their stars." Let's not forget the controversy over the dwarfs' exclusion from the film. The studio confirmed to The Hollywood Reporter that this new version takes a different approach to the 7 dwarfs to avoid reinforcing stereotypes. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period. Fans weren't having it. The backlash was loud and relentless. Among the critics was David Hand, son of the original film's supervising director. He didn't hold back, saying Walt Disney himself would be rolling over in his grave over this new direction. According to Hand, the 1937 classic was crafted with timeless charm, something completely missing in this reimagining. It's a whole different concept and I just totally disagree with it, and I know my dad and Walt would also very much disagree with it. Their thoughts are just so radical now. They change the stories, they change the thought process of the characters, they're making up new woke things and I'm just not into any of that. I find it quite frankly a bit insulting what they may have done with some of these classic films. There's no respect for what Disney did and what my dad did. I think Walt and he would be turning in their graves. And judging by fan reactions, Team Ortega is winning this battle. Jenna Ortega should have been Snow White. She's so beautiful and kind, and most importantly she looks like Snow White and she cares about the source material. While Zegler is just a whiny Karen. I pray nobody sees this abomination in theaters. That's all for today's tea. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye.